How's it going, everybody? Bryce Green here with Big Kid Custom Rides, and we are excited for this next YouTube video to drop. This is one of my favorite builds that we've ever done. This is a, old O'Hara Snowcat. This thing is amazing. Such a fun build from start to finish. We had a lot of fun with it. The owner gave us a lot of freedom with the creativity side of it, and super happy with how it came out. So we'll be having another episode to kind of finish it off, but this one's going to be the solid intro into it, and you guys are going to be able to see how this thing was when it came in. Just terrible condition. It's obviously been out in harsh weather its entire life, and so we wanted to take this thing to the next level, and so that's what you're going to see. So enjoy this video and see what you guys think.
So when the Snowcat came in, as you can see, it was very rough, super beat up, just living its life up in the mountains. But we were really excited to have kind of a big open platform, a lot of creative freedom to make it really kind of the ultimate tank that we could make it be.
Obviously, this thing is going to be out in the elements, and it was really awesome that this whole body could just be lifted off of the chassis in one piece. So that just kind of got me thinking, like, it's going to be in the elements, it's going to be in harsh weather most of its life, it's going to be beaten down with the sun, the freezing cold temperatures. So I just didn't feel like automotive base and clear was going to be the way to go. So that's when I decided, let's go ahead and powder coat this whole thing so that this thing is going to be able to take any branches that it runs into or anything like that. And so pretty much every single thing on this Snowcat was powder coated, from the orange all the way to the black pieces. We just really wanted that durability to know that it was going to last and not have any issues in the long run.
So it made this build different than one of the regular cars we do. A lot of the initial steps were very similar, where it's fully disassemble everything, take it completely apart to the bare body, and then we send it out to get sandblast to just remove all the old corrosion, all the old paints off of it, and just start with an absolute bare platform. One of the big challenges that we ran into was the old Isuzu engine. We just wanted to get a refurbished, rebuilt one rather than deal with taking this one up to an engine shop, having it fully gone through, where it's something that not a lot of people do work on. We just felt it would be better to get a new one purchased. And it still just came with a lot of issues. Those Isuzus were used for a lot of different applications, so getting one that would hold up best in our extreme cold weather environment that it would be in was kind of a challenge to get all that located and then running and tuned properly so that it would be extremely reliable up on the mountain, where you're miles and miles into the backcountry. Hiking out isn't always the best option, so we wanted to make sure it was really reliable.
What are you working on down here?
We are going through and reattaching these Snowcat tracks to be able to roll it back out the door. It's about down and we're at that point. Yeah, just so we can get the splice point together. So it's really close.
That's how it holds together?
Yeah, it just has 4 bolts that go through and holds the whole track together.
One on top, one on bottom, or just the top?
Just the top. So it's just one long piece and it just comes up and then splices together. we're doing right now is getting all the mechanical components figured out, specifically up underneath the dash. As you can see, the defroster vents, it's got this pipe here that's got two pipes going down into the engine bay, and then there will be two pipes that come off. We've drilled some holes in, so that'll be your defroster. But underneath here is where we're trying to figure out, because the wiper arm has to travel between that plate, but without this covered, it just gets right into the cab. And so we don't want any exhaust noise or anything coming through that. So we're gonna have to build some type of plate to cover this all up from the front side, but we need to get the wipers in to make sure that we have the travel that it needs before we kind of start you know, locking things in up underneath there. So what we're gonna do first is get the wiper system figured out, get it installed, make sure that it's good, and then we'll be able to put the piping for the defroster in place, and then we'll be able to figure out with a cardboard template how the piece of aluminum that we need to cut is going to be once it's all said and done. So, onto the wipers. Again, it's not going to be a lot of rotation. So I wonder if we need to get this installed and then see where this lands underneath, figure out where that needs to go.
So taking that entire setup up underneath the dash and making everything copacetic and working together was a bit of a challenge, because obviously that wiper system had 3 different wiper blades. So we had 3 different shafts coming through the cow. And so we had to make sure that the new wiper motor was able to mount up and get the length in. Everything had to be all correct so that, you know, as the motor turns, the wiper arms are moving at the correct angle and at the same speed. But you throw that into the mix with the defroster vent that was up underneath there, as well as the opening that was going to allow the exhaust and everything to come through. So what we ended up doing was just cutting a plate that the defroster could go down into, and that sealed off the engine bay area, and then that still allowed for the wiper arm to travel back and forth without any complications on it. On the back of the Snowcat, the customer was very specific about that door. You know, that's where the whole passengers, everyone will get into. And so he got sick and tired of having to hold it open while people were loading into it. And so we just figured, you know what, let's just get one of these really simple, almost like a cabinet or gate style clip that would have a spring loaded side, and then you would have the, you know, kind of the pointed side on the other end, and that just kind of stuck onto the door. And then that way, when that pointed piece just went into the spring loaded side, it would just grab it and hold it. So very, very basic, but it served the purpose and it fixed kind of the issue that the customer was having a problem with. The inside of this Snowcat was so cool, and we really were just trying to make everything look very unique and different. And so by kind of going with the aviator style bezels, we figured, you know, why not just kind of continue that theme. And so for the aviator compass, so we actually got a compass that came out of a Cessna 182 airplane, and then as well as a meter that would show where the glow plug was needling out at. We just created our own little gauge pod.
That's perfect. That's a perfect angle.
Cut that out on the CNC table and then put that up into the side of the right corner. That way it was kind of out of the driver's way, but it still looked cool and it served its purpose and function.